everyone, my name is Chai, and welcome to the 16th episode of my Minecraft Let's Play series. Today we're going to be killing all these cows so I can have a nice intro. In addition to the murder I just committed, I will also be making the paths in this area all nice and pretty, and adding some bits in the lilac grove so that can be useful and also extra pretty. Many pretty things will hopefully take place today. If any of that sounds interesting to you, please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content. Let's get on with the video. The first thing I need to do to make this nice path is going to be removing all of this path block. It's only going to get in the way, and so I just need to get rid of it all. I'll be replacing it eventually, but it'll look kind of weird for a bit. This path is going to be a bit less rigid than the path I did up there, so it's okay if I make a few little mistakes and everything's not perfectly 3 blocks wide, because it makes it look a bit more natural, and that's kind of the style we're going for with this path. Found a cave while digging out some areas under the melon farm. To be completely honest, I kind of forgot this was here. Think I'm gonna do a bit of cave exploration now, just so I can get this thing all nice and cleared out. Oh, this is actually a really large cave. That's worrying. Back to the pathing. I'll deal with that mess later. Is this another cave? Are you kidding me? I just want to build. Please just let me build. Now that I've carved out all the areas where I want the path to go, I'm gonna need to start getting materials. One of the things I want to use for this path is packed mud bricks. These are quite complicated to get. You have to have wheat and also mud, which comes from putting a water bottle on dirt. It's generally a painful block to get, so I'm gonna start working on getting it now. Alright, I'm getting impatient, so I'm gonna start working on the path now, and then I'll just add in the bricks later. I've got a decent amount of the path in at this point. But I'm still waiting on a lot of wheat so that I can get the rest of the mud bricks in. While I'm waiting for that to grow, I think I'm gonna get some slabs and make it so I don't have to jump every single time I want to have an increase in my Y level. Still don't have enough wheat, although I do have plenty of bone meal, so that should help at least a little. Alright, I've officially gotten all the path in. It took a while to get all of the bricks that I needed, but once I did, it was fairly simple. Just place the bricks in the empty holes and then make sure that the slabs are in and work nice and smoothly. I also in some areas added a bit of bone meal around the edges to make them look prettier and more lush. I'd say that with the lighting, the path is officially complete, which makes this entire area complete also, I guess, which is kind of fun to think about. I also extended the path a bit into the animal areas, so that's an interesting thing I did. Now that we've finished up this section of the path, I think it's time to work on the expansion to the lilac grove. The first thing we're going to need to do is take out all of the trees. I find them in the way, and so I'm just gonna remove them. It's fine though, we'll add better trees later. Alright, so before I finish terraforming this area here, I have a small idea. This area is all nice and open and relatively flat. And so I was thinking for this second little section of the lilac grove, it could be more of an enclosed, hilly, foresty type thing. And one of the things it could have is this little pond that the path goes over a little tiny bridge and then into this river here that I didn't actually terraform. This is a cave from when the terrain generated, I guess. But I was thinking maybe that could go over here and then into this. And I think that could just look really neat. It would require making another river, but I did this with stone tools. So now that I have mostly enchanted diamond tools, it should be a lot easier. I want to do the river last, so I think we're gonna start off with this little path section here. I'll probably do this little upper bit first, and then bring it all the way over down to the rest of the lilac grove. The first part of this is going to be to clearly mark out where I want the path to go, and then I'll just dig out those path blocks. To do all that, I just kind of need to spam some random path blocks, in the general direction I want it to go, and then I'll dig all of those out. It's a little easier to make this path because I don't have to be so focused on getting everything nice and perfect, because it's going to be like kind of a random weathered path like we have in the rest of the Lilac Grove. One thing that this path style will also allow for is smooth turns, which is quite nice. To start off the pathing, I'm going to put in the stairways. I've had a cool idea for a cool gradient, but it requires both smooth sandstone stairs, that's hard to say, and normal sandstone. Words are hard. Anyway, it requires sand. I have exactly 5 pieces of sand. This is not good, and I'm going to need to go out into the world to go and grab some more. Like with most of my important resources, this desert is about 5,000 blocks in this direction, so it looks like I'm gonna be walking for a while again. I don't need that much sand, so instead of going to a desert, I've just found this little beach that's about a day's travel away from normal places, so I'm just gonna dig down deep enough to get some I still can't say it. Sandstone, and start mining. This should be enough sandstone. I'm going to head back now. The staircases have been added in. I really like the I still can't say that word. Sandstone, yeah, that's it. Sandstone to birch gradient here. I also like these little cobblestone bits. Now it's time to just put in the rest of the path. The main parts of the path are done. I think it's looking quite nice. The last thing we need to do for this path section is just add the little bridge that goes over the river. I am gonna need a little birch for this though, and I don't have any, so I'll just mine these down. This is the bridge. I'm not the most skilled at building bridges, but this should do the trick, hopefully. Now what I'm gonna do is make this pond nice and pretty. Before I do that, I'm gonna have to make a few more bits of... Before I do that though, I'm gonna have to make a bit more mossy cobblestone because I only have 16 and I am out of moss. Alright, most of it's done. However, I do want to get some alliums and pink tulips like we have over there, but I'm out of those because I used them all over there. So I'm going to go to a flower forest and quickly grab a few. Alright, I've got the flowers I need and a large amount of seeds. Now it is time to head home, which I think is in that direction. I'm back at home with all the stuff. Now it is time to put it away and get back to building. Alright, with that, I think the pond, lake, river thing is complete. The next thing we're gonna do is to build a creeper farm. It's gonna go over here-ish. Here's a hole that I dug out with the moss when I needed moss earlier. So my plan is to just kind of expand this a little to the point where it can hold the creeper farm and then build it. Alright, this is generally the size of area that I want to dig out. And then I want to dig it basically to around where that place's deepest point. So it should be a fairly big room. I'm gonna mine most of this using moss because I have plenty of stone from when I mined out the chunk, and I don't really lack bone meal, and hopefully this should just go a little faster. Alright, I have dug out the room. Now I just have to put a creeper farm in it. I'll link the tutorial I am using in the description. Now I just have to go and make it. So it turns out I didn't actually use a tutorial, and I kind of just stared at some images until it made sense. Maybe that means I'm getting better at redstone. Maybe it means that I'm just lying to myself and I'll never improve. But you know what? I don't really care. If we come down here, we'll see the little collection system. It's somewhere over this way, I think. Yep, here it is. So far it's made 2 gunpowder and 2 string, and I hear a spider dying up there, so that's good. This is the room. It's got trapdoors on the ceiling because creepers are little short boys. And so only creepers will spawn here, and I guess spiders because they're flat, but I don't really care, and I could use a source of string anyway, so it's not too bad. There's not a lot of layers. It's not an industrial anything, and will probably only just barely serve the amount I need. But later, if I need to, like, blow something up into smithereens, I can make a better farm. It is really ugly, though. Like, this upstairs bit, and then also down here is just kind of hideous. Like, I don't even know which way to go to get to the, collection chamber. It's just kind of bad, so, I need to fix that. I'm gonna start with the upstairs area, because it feels the easiest. I'm probably just gonna use the same style that I used for the rest of the buildings and the rest of the Lilac Grove. Shouldn't be too difficult. I have made the upstairs section of the creeper farm. It's got just like a basic little house, like the style in the rest of the Lilac Grove. And then if you go inside, you actually have this pretty neat interior that I made. It's got leaves on the ceiling, which I like. I think it brings it all together. It's also got some chests in case there's any extra mob loot, which I doubt there will be considering the quality of the farm, but you know, it's fine. Also, if you need to access any of the redstone, you can just walk through this painting, and then there's the redstone. I'm not sure why I'll need to do this, but if eventually I do, then I won't have to break any blocks. Now I get to focus on making the downstairs look all nice. I'll probably lower the floor a bit, but besides that, I'm not quite sure what I'll do with this space. The room has been roomified. That's not a word, but I'm using it anyway. I think it looks pretty good. The original plan was to have like sort of a diagonal thing because I thought that the space between this entry point and the chest were like a square, but it's not. It's actually just a horizontal room, which wasn't too difficult to decorate. I did like a more like nature-y broken down section and then more of like a dungeon-y underground basement feel thing over here. During all of the building that we've done on this farm, we've managed to get this amount of loot. I'm not quite sure how the skeleton got in there. I probably missed a trap door at some point. But we did have 28 gunpowder, which is quite nice. The next thing I want to do is build a cactus farm in the Lilac Grove. I have one in my basement, but it's kind of out of place, and I could use this area for storage, and then have all of my farms in the Lilac Grove, which I think would be cool. I don't really need cactus, so it won't be that large of a cactus farm. We have the cactus farm. It's got 2 levels with 8 pods each. There's one up here, there's one down there. The way that the top collection system works is basically there's 4 sources on each of those corners, and then they all feed into here, and then there's a sign that makes the water not drip down, and then this all feeds into here, and then on these corners there are also waters, and then these waters all lead into this hopper, which leads into the collection chest. Toss some sand to test it. But yeah, that's the entire farm. Now I just have to make it look pretty. The cactus farm is finished. It's a different style than the rest of the Lilac Grove is, but I think it still looks cool and fits within the area. It's produced a bit of cactus, and so that should be helpful for when I need mass amounts of cactus later, because this is already more than I need currently. I don't often have a use for cactus, so I didn't really need to make this. Anyway, now that we've got all the structures that I'm going to build in here today, I am going to decorate this place to make it pretty, because right now it just looks like there's this pond. There's not enough mushrooms, really, is all that's different. Would be nice if I had some end rods to make little baby mushrooms with, but unfortunately I do not, so I'm just gonna have to stick with big boys. So I'm in the Nether looking for a quartz, and arguably the worst place to find quartz in, and look, there's a bastion. There's just an entire bastion there. I think it's like the worst bastion type out of all of the bastion types, though I'm not skilled in bastion identification, so I don't all the way know. But that's pretty cool. There's also the whole fortress thing, but we'll get to that next episode. Is that another fortress? I guess we'll deal with that one too. I'll take it. This should hopefully be enough quartz. I'm going to go and take a fortune pick to this and turn it into mushrooms. It was not, in fact, enough, and I am now back in the Nether. You know, I feel like once you get past the whole Nether is scary and lava-filled and will kill you in an instant if you're not paying attention, it's actually quite pretty. Like, this view is just wonderful. I could build something here. The mushrooms are in. I think they look pretty nice. Now it is time to go and place all the other bits of foliage. I'm gonna go in order of the largest bit of foliage to the smallest bit of foliage that I'll be adding. We've already got the mushrooms in, but now I'm just gonna build a few custom trees around here to make it look a little nicer and more, I don't know, green, foresty, magical. There's many words I could use. I'm not quite sure which is the right one, but I'm gonna go build some trees now. So I built a few custom trees, and then I also added more than a few, like, just basic sapling trees to just add more foliage, and I think it's looking quite nice. It's a lot forestier than this other section over here, but I kind of like how it's, like, all closed in and then reveals the larger Lilac Grove section. Now I'm just gonna add a whole bunch of smaller details, and then I think this section of the Lilac Grove will be done. Alright, I've foliaged. There's foliage now, including rocks, and azaleas, and grass, and rocks. I also made these cool looking mushroom things. I haven't been to the end yet, so I had to use birch instead of end rods, but maybe later I'll replace them with end rods. I'm not quite sure yet. We'll see. Also, the creeper farm has been doing quite well, which is very nice, and I'm very proud of it. That is going to be the end of the video. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content. Hope to see you soon!